Hello my friends, I'm going to show you how the traditional kiskas are made. These are used for coloring and writing on traditional Ukrainian Easter eggs. The writing on the egg is called Pysanky. These eggs use the kiska, which is a copper writing instrument used for writing with wax. Beeswax is the wax used. The kiska is made from copper foil.
Out of all these pennies, I found one penny here. This one is the old wheat penny. And these are copper plated. They're not a copper penny. This is solid copper. So we're going to use this copper, but we need to make it real thin. And to do that, we're going to have to soften the copper and then hammer it out. And to soften copper, you have to heat it to where it's red hot, and then you quench it, and that will soften the copper. And then when you're hammering it, it will work harden it, and if it doesn't get thin enough, you'll have to go and soften it again, which would mean heat it red hot and quench it in water again. So you could use any flame. If you had a torch, you could use a torch. I'm going to heat this penny up over the flame. So as soon as I get this glowing, I'll drop it in the water. Copper is used because it holds a lot of heat. It's a good energy source, energy reserve. So when people do roofing, the old days, they had soldering coppers. So it was a large chunk of copper on the end of a rod. You would heat that up, you could carry it up to a roof, and they used that to do soldering of the old tin roofing and gutters. This is why copper is used for these writing tools. Okay, we're going to drop this into our water. Okay, let's do it. Now let's make it into foil, copper foil. Okay, you can see this copper is still very stiff now. I'm going to quench it once again. I just work hardened it. So quenching will soften it up. So I'll go through the same process, red hot, drop it in the water. See here, I quenched it, and you see how soft. Okay, again, see, I just work hardened it. So what works much quicker than my stove is a torch. So we're going to use the torch and heat this up in the kitchen again. Okay, the hot part of the flame is right at the tip of that lighter blue color. You see you see the difference. Right there is the hot. Look how quick it is glowing. And then quench it in the water. Okay, you can hear by the ring, it's work hardened again. Now to make our writing tool, we need to soften this because we have to roll the copper. So one more heating and quenching. Okay, so that penny now has been hammered to about the size of a silver dollar. If you don't have a copper penny to use, you can just take a piece of copper tubing and do the same thing with that. Cut it, use some aviation snips. Cuts it very easily. And go through the same procedure. Heating it up, quenching it, hammering it. Here's the copper tubing opened up. I'm going to cut this into a usable size. Okay, we're going to do this one. Okay, all I need to do is soften that up because it's work hardened again, and we're going to make our writing tools. Okay, to make the Kistka, we need to size this and cut this in half. A good pair of scissors should be able to cut that. And then we want to roll this into a funnel shape. That'll be one. Now we want to do a real small one. If you look close at the tip, that's considered a larger tip. Okay, see this one? Much smaller. So I want the cone to be about this length. Looks to me like maybe a 3/4 inch. And that will be what goes through the handle of the Kistka. Cut some sticks. These are going to be the handles. You can make the handle any length you want. This is the typical size that my grandmother had. And I'm making these from memory from what I saw her using. Okay, I have this fitted in. Now I have some wire here. Okay, what I did is I split the end, and that split is going to allow me to fit a cone in here. For something small like this, is an X-Acto knife works real well. Having it split like this, when you wrap the copper, it will squeeze the two halves onto the cone and make it tight. In addition to the cone type writer, my grandmother also used, and this is my mother was telling me, she just would have a thick piece of wire and she would just dip that in for making like dots. So I'll do one of those also where I can use this heavier wire. This will be in a cone, it'll have a reserve, and it'll allow you to make continuous lines. But then when she wanted to do dots, she just had one with that she would dip in the molten wax and just transfer one dot at a time. My mother said that when they would color eggs, they would trade them with the neighbors, and they kept them for good luck. And when they did eggs for eating, they didn't do the ornate patterns, and a lot of the eggs didn't have drawing at all on them. They were just dipped in a vegetable color, like beet juice or onion skins just to give it a color. We're going to heat this up. And this candle that I'm using, it's paraffin. You cannot use paraffin wax. Paraffin wax will contaminate the egg. You'll have fingerprints all over it. It'll cause it a lot of smearing. So you have to use beeswax, which I have here. And you gather up some wax. This one here is just the end of a wire. There's no cone. They all work. They all right. Now it's time to do some eggs.
Here is some of the Pysanky that my cousin Maureen had colored. Thanks for watching, my friends. Bye-bye.